Hi everyone, welcome back. Samantha back here saying a big hello, and I hope life is treating you very, very well. Hope you're all okay. And I thought I'd come back today with a cute little pair of earrings. Really good for the beginner. Just gets you into that lovely little realm of wire wrapping the little beads around. Really cute, aren't they? These are little pearlized beads, and I've made these little guys in like little red sparkly. How cute are those? And these little guys are little blue beads. Actually, how fun is that? Red, white and blue. Great for us in the UK and the US. Aren't they sweet? Okay, so today I thought I'd show you how to make these. Really sweet, very small in the ear, so they're quite delicate. You can make these in any size you like actually, but I thought I'd show you how to make the smaller version today. Okay, so we'll go through a list of materials as to how to make these little guys. We'll actually be making this guy here with the little pearl beads. Okay, so let's go through a list of materials. So for this one, you're going to need slightly thicker wire actually. So today we're going to be using 1.25 millimeter wire. I've written 18 gauge here, but I think it's actually 16. Just double check. I'll check and put it in the description box, but it is 1.25 mil wire. Here in the UK we use millimeters. I think it might be 16 gauge actually, guys, not 18. Okay, so we're going to also need some 0.4 millimeter wire, and that's to wire wrap our little beads. Okay, you'll need some flush cutters as usual. I always say go in with 2 pairs of chain nose just to be on the safe side, but you'll certainly need 1 pair if nothing else. You'll need a simple ruler just to measure out your lengths. Okay, you'll need 6-step bell making pliers. Again, for this one, my steps are 2 to 9 millimeter. The tutorial and the measurements that I'm using today will be based upon this size of 6-step plier, okay, to make this particular size. All right. And then, last but not least, you'll need some beads. For this little cute guy here, I'm going to be using these tiny little, these are 3 millimeter beads, okay? So 3 millimeter beads for this particular size. As you go up in the sizes, you can use larger beads, obviously. So grab some out of your stash, and we'll meet back in a second and we'll go through how to make these little cuties, okay? So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so we've got all of our materials ready. The first thing you need to do is to make the earring form. Okay, so I'll take you through how to do this particular size. The earring form itself, let's just give it a little measure, is about 1 3/4 centimeters, which is about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so we need to make this 2 of these guys first. So with the 1.25 millimeter wire, give it a bit of a stretch and flush cut the end. Make sure everything's nice and neat. And you want to measure out 5 centimeters of wire. Give that a bit of a snip, which is just short of 2 inches. Okay, so here's our little piece of wire to begin. So you come in with your bell making pliers, and we want to make the first little hoop first. Okay, so using the first step of your plier, just pop it in right at the very end so that you can't feel the wire, and just rotate your wrist. Okay, so you have this. Then using the largest step, want to bend the wire in the opposite direction. Okay, so as you can see here, it goes in the opposite direction. So place your wire with the hoop facing towards you. And rotate the wire around and just over the top, like so. All right, and this is what you have. You will have a tiny little bit of excess wire, but that's absolutely fine because we need to just snip just where the wires cross. Okay, so flush cut your wire about there. Okay, and then that's left you with your, essentially your figure of 8. Okay, so just give it a bit of a tweak. Now obviously this wire is quite sturdy with it being slightly thicker, but we do want to work hard on it a little just to give it a little bit of stability. All right, so this is where we come in with our little bench block. So pop your bench block and your little chasing hammer, and I will just pop some funky music on now whilst we just give it a bit of a tap. Okay, so here we go. And there we have our little hammered figure of 8. Okay, so when we work hardened metal, it separates slightly. Okay, that's just with the molecules apparently, or some scientific thing like that. So if that does happen, just come back in with your plier and just move things around a little bit and tighten things up. Okay, so here's our little form. The next thing we want to do is to get our lovely beads out and start wrapping. Okay, so let's have a look at the beads. So here we have these beautiful pearlized 3mm beads, which I'm going to use today. And I'm just going to bring my little foam pad in because typically for me, they will go all over the floor, which happens all the time, and I'm constantly finding beads on the floor. So I'll just pop that in the corner there, okay? And just hope that doesn't drop off the table. There we go. All right, so what we need to do now is to start wrapping these beads. So let's bring it in our 0.4mm wire. Again, as always, I'll pop the equivalents in the description for you guys who use gauges, okay? I think you're probably going to need about, what's that? Let's have a look. Just over a foot of wire, probably 30-35 centimetres of wire, just to make sure that you've got enough. Always better to have too much than not enough, I say. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to anchor the wire onto the form. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. So pop the wire through the form like so, and you just want to wrap it round 3 or 4 times using your pliers if you want to make sure that it's nice and secure. So we literally just pop the wire through, wrap it round and back through, wrap it round, okay, so that it's nice and secure. The next thing we want to do is to pop our beads on. Now I've worked out for this particular size of form that you need 11 3mm beads. So you go ahead and skip this part whilst I just thread these beads on. Talk amongst yourselves, as they would say. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that was just my little dog walking across the kitchen floor. Thank you, dog. So we have our 11 beads popped on here. Now, because you've got an open section here, not that it matters in the final piece, but just be aware you don't want your wire to pop off this end part here, okay? It doesn't matter in the final piece because it's quite secure, just a bit of a heads up. So what we want to do now is to wind these beads around the form. Just pop that up there so it's relatively safe. There we go, that's safe enough. So we want to wrap the beads around the form, but we want to make sure that we leave a little bit of a gap. Okay, so the reason for this is that when we go back round to wind the wire around the beads, the wire gets tugged against, and if you don't leave enough wire, enough of a gap, then you'll come into some problems, okay? And you'll see what I mean in a second when we get going. So I would suggest that is what you're looking for, okay? Just a little bit of a gap so that the beads are free flowing, excuse me, okay? So the first thing we want to do is to secure the beads on the other side, okay? So basically, pop your wire up and through, like so, and wrap around. Up and through and wrap. I'd probably suggest you do this probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 times like before. Just give it a nice secure wrap. Okay, so this is what we have. Can you see how those are free flowing there? Right, so the first thing we need to do now is go up through the centre of the form with your wire, and we want to secure this first bead. Can you see how that wire is in between? So we want to wrap that wire around the first bead, back up through, and then we want to wrap over the top of this wire here. So over the top. Keep things nice and secure. Can you see? Okay, so back through the centre, over the top of this next one here, like so. Okay, you see that? Back up through and over the top of that one there. Okay, if you need to keep sort of jiggling things around and pushing your beads around a little bit at this stage, that's a good thing to do. So each time that you wrap over the this first wire here, you're bringing the beads and the wire closer to the form. And you'll see what I mean when you do it yourself. So just keep going back up through, over the top, gently back up through, over the top of the next bead. When I edit this video, I will bring in the close-ups, okay, so you'll be able to see what I mean. So essentially every single time, over the top of the first wire, which sucks the wire close to the form. Okay, so did you see why we needed to keep, you know, sort of a gap in between the wire and the beads? Because every time we do this, it brings the beads in closer. Okay, so that's the last bead secured. So with your nail or your pliers, just sort of rearrange everything. Make sure everything's all nice and even. At this stage, you can move your beads round. There you go. So everything's nice and even. Okay. This piece of wire here, the first piece of wire, you need to get rid of that now. So just give that a quick snip. And then just come in with your plier And just give that a squeeze so it's nice and tight against the form. So this is what we have halfway. This is our halfway point, okay? So what we need to do now is to go back round. So what I like to do is to go back over your initial winding here. So the first initial anchor point here, just go back round that a couple of times. It just gives it a nice little effect. Okay, so back over. Go back under and over. Okay, can you see how that's now in place? So what we want to do is essentially do exactly the same thing but go back the other way. So underneath and through the hoop of the form, and then in between the first two beads. Back up through the form and in between the second two beads. All the time, you know, use the pads of your finger and your thumb and just keep everything nice and secure and nice and taut. Don't panic. Okay, back over the next bead, up through, back over the next bead. Okay, so can you see how that's having a nice cross effect? Just keep going all the way round until you get to the end. So each bead will have like a cross over the top of it. You see? Pretty, isn't it? I think it's a really pretty effect. Okay, so up through, back over, up through and over, keeping it nice and tight and taut at this particular stage, okay? Until you get to the last bead and you come back through. So you're left with just a couple of wraps on the last section, just to match the other side. And there we go. How's that? Okay, done. That's it, done. Absolutely lovely. And then just snip off and just secure the wire at the back there. And there we are. That's it. Wonderful. Pat yourselves on the back and celebrate. I mean, how gorgeous is that? Beautiful, beautiful. So all you need to do then really is to pop an ear wire on and you've got a beautiful pair of earrings. Okay, so have good fun with those, and I hope you make lots and lots of different pretty colours. I think the sparkly ones are quite cute too. Can you see how they're sparkly ones? So have fun with those, guys, and hopefully I didn't go too fast for you. If there's any problems, let me know and I'll see if I can help you in the comments. Okay, so have fun with those and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.